Okay, so let's continue on. The course of life, he says, the characteristic feature of life is energy, motion. A living being grows, moves about, executes actions. A dead creature cannot manifest any form of energy. Action, therefore, is the insignia of life. The law of evolution impels all living beings to keep acting. A living creature which stops activity will perish. Evolution is marked by constant striving and struggling in life. Where there is no effort and exertion, there is degradation and death. So this is interesting, because if you look at what we just said, he was saying the world will change, just accept it. So it could be that there's a tendency for us to become complacent, and you see this. You see people who have a sort of pseudo-spirituality, which is just go with the flow, let everything be what it is, nothing needs to be changed. It's kind of laziness. To safeguard against that kind of complacency, that sort of lethargy, he says, no, you have to act. If you don't act in life, stagnation and death. You've got to keep on acting, keep moving, keep progressing. What are your obligations in life? Is the world imperfect? Of course it is. Is it your obligation to change it? Get up, fix it, do something, act. So in order to balance out that idea of the world's perfect, let it be what it is, that's an attitude that you adopt while you're fixing it, as it were, while you're acting to achieve. You know, often, again, we've got this idea, no worldly gain can make us happy. Ah, fantastic. I was just waiting for someone to tell me that. Now I don't have to bother about achieving anything. I'm not going to finish my degree. I'm not going to get a job. Relationships, they come, they go. Yeah, I got a bad problem with my parents, but hey, problem with parents, happy parents, doesn't matter. The world can't. All right, it's complacency, it's laziness. It's tamas, this is the word that they use, it's tamasik. So in order to safeguard against that kind of complacency, this is what he's talking about here, you have to understand the other value of life, which is action. We have to keep acting in accordance with our obligations in life. That keeps us fresh. It keeps us moving. It keeps us dynamic. Otherwise, we fall into this kind of lazy stagnation. So he says a human being must progress, not remain static. For example, a child playing with toys is acceptable, but an adult doing the same is detestable. Again, a young man indulging in passion is understandable, but an old man doing the same is despicable. You will have to move with time. Time marches on. If you do not keep pace, you devolve. You will destroy yourself. The same is not applicable to an animal. Animals inherit a distinct nature. Their pattern of activity is set. They do not change with time or place. They lack the intelligence to do so. But a human possesses an intellect to distinguish between right and wrong, good and bad, etc., and choose his way of life. Progress is spelt by right effort and exertion. Scientific discoveries and inventions are a mark of progress. A society which does not progress along with time will be ruined. This is a universal law. Many great empires which had relaxed their efforts become lethargic, met their own destruction. History has proved this time and again. So it's a principle which is true for individuals, it's true for societies. We have to keep progressing through life. Right? If we look at the from the perspective of society, because it is much easier to visualize. If a society never changes its laws, if it never changes its values, if it never changes its technology, what happens? Ultimately, it falls into degradation. Staying static is moving backwards. It's like the old joke, two men are out on the African savannah and they see a lion in the distance running towards them. And one guy gets down, takes off his hiking boots and puts on his running shoes. And the other guy says, "You're never going to be able to outrun a lion." He says, "I don't need to outrun a lion, I just need to outrun you." All right? So if you stay static, you're being left behind. Because life is growth. So we've got to keep on moving. And again, this goes back to that point we were saying earlier. The goal of self-development is such an important goal to have in life, because that is what will keep us moving. What is true progress? Is true progress making the physical body healthier? To an extent, but it's a limited extent. Is true progress improving your relationships? Yes. But it's Limited progress. Is it gaining more knowledge? Meh, limited. Is it being a more morally upright person? Well, yeah, but what's true progress? True progress is that self-development that we're talking about, detaching and disconnecting from our identification with body, mind, and intellect. Progress through life. As we do that, everything else is taken care of. Our actions do become more dynamic. Our relationships do become more harmonious. Our knowledge does become more profound. Our thinking does become more clear. We do become a more morally upright individual. Any one of these things doesn't matter. They're all taken care of when we approach self-development. So as we're talking about here. Progress is spelt by right effort and exertion. So, we should never become complacent with where we're at. As he talks about, a young child playing with toys is acceptable. But if you're 25 years old and still playing with toys, there's something wrong with you. Now, the same thing applies at different levels. The way of relating to the world, the values that I held, they were acceptable, they were perfect for me when I was at that stage of my life. In my early 20s, these were the things I valued. This is the things that I was pursuing. There's nothing wrong with that. They're perfect. But let yourself grow out of them. Doing the same thing at 50 that you're doing at 25 might be completely unacceptable. There's a natural arc of growth. We should follow it. But the problem is we get attached to some beautiful aspect of life, of our youth, and we want to keep it. By holding on to that, we lose that natural arc of growth, and we lose the value of the thing that we could be embodying through that arc. There's a beauty to every age of life, but when we don't want to be the age we are, we miss it. So when we're young, we want to be older. We want to be an adult. And when we're in our 30s, we kind of want to embody that early 20s energy. When we're in our 50s, we want, whatever it is, there's something that we're attached to that we want to keep moving back. No, keep moving. Go with the pace of time. You don't really have any choice. It's going to go without you. Someone's going to run ahead of you. You'll be left behind. You'll be the one who's devoured. Keep pace, progress, keep acting. That's really important.